Yes. Update. Well, lads and ladettes, here we are at a critical juncture, as the prosecution rested on Wednesday, May the 18th at 1 p.m., and thus the case is now in the hands of the jury. Which would be most welcome, were it not for the fact that, of course, this is a San Francisco jury, and God only knows what sort of madness that could bring about. My prediction is that the outcome will be a hung jury, because surely there will be at least one or two crazed libs on the jury who will refuse to convict, simply because they don't like my politics, because the lowest form of ambulatory pond scum, the defense attorney that represented Mr. Natsa at trial, managed to interject a few small pieces of my politics into the matter, which of course is completely irrelevant, but which could possibly trigger symptoms of Trump derangement syndrome within a few members of the jury, provoking an emotional response, shutting down all intellect, logic, rationality, and reasoning, and bringing the jury to a displeasing conclusion, which would be a hung jury. If such a sickening outcome comes to pass, there are other avenues to pursue justice, though, and those avenues will be pursued most diligently. And all decent and kindly persons can take heart in knowing that the feds have been monitoring the situation, and they are ready and waiting to take Mr. Natsa back into their custody and drag him back to federal prison where he truly belongs. He was out on federal parole for an international conspiracy involving providing material support to ISIS. And that's exactly the charge of which he was convicted and sentenced to federal prison for his part in an international plot to travel overseas and fight for ISIS. He was out on parole for around a year when I ran into him on the night in question, and when he proved himself to be scum all over again by knifing me in the most cowardly fashion while I was tangled up on the ground with his cohort. And I can't wait for you viewers to see the proper video of that. There's one thing many people don't know, is that the Tenderloin, the neighborhood in which this happened, is such a crazy, dangerous, violent neighborhood, especially to be going around in the middle of the night conducting my activities alone, that the San Francisco Police Department has wisely installed many hidden cameras in the neighborhood, and we have multiple videos, multiple camera angles of exactly what went down when the scum attacked me, and you're going to get to see that I put up one hell of a fight in my self-defense. Some leftist cunts thought I got laid over and used as a fucking prayer rug. That's not what happened, folks. Not at all. Immediately upon this matter being concluded, or at least this phase of it, I'll be getting my hands on those videos and transcripts and other materials related to this case. So you have that to look forward to, no matter what the outcome of this case may be. And I would remind you, viewers, that Mr. Islam Saeed Natsa, the man who knifed me in the back repeatedly like a coward, he's been held behind bars this whole time since this happened, for nearly a year. And he's got plenty more years to go in his future as well, doesn't he? There he is, the poisonous little dwarf. And so we await the jury's verdict. Could be today, could be tomorrow, could be next week. Who knows? But we may be assured that the longer that the deliberations go on, the more likely it would seem to be that it's a hung jury. As you might imagine, that would be indicatory of a great disagreement between members of the jury, which would indicate that some members would wisely simply make their decision based on the video evidence, which clearly shows Mr. Natsa committing a violent, unlawful assault upon my person using a knife. But we shall see, because there certainly can be some crazed Marxist types on the jury who would take great pleasure in denying justice for a plantation escapee such as myself.